We live in a world where so many of us are searching for the perfect relationship. We want someone to love us, to see us, to make us feel worthy. But here's the truth. No one can give us what we haven't first given to ourselves. Love doesn't begin with another person. It begins with you. The way you love yourself teaches the world how to love you. Every time you show yourself kindness, patience, and respect, you're setting a standard. And every time you tolerate disrespect or neglect from yourself, you silently tell others it's okay to treat you the same way. Relationships are mirrors. People reflect back the way we've already decided to treat ourselves. If we don't think we're enough, we'll attract partners who confirm that belief. But if we carry ourselves with dignity, with care, with love, we invite people who meet us at that level. Here's what many don't realize. Self-love doesn't make you selfish. It makes you strong. It allows you to set boundaries without guilt. It gives you the power to say no, to walk away, to stand up for your values without apology, because you're no longer chasing love, you're living it. You're no longer begging for approval. You're already approved by the one who matters most, you. When you don't love yourself, love feels like survival. You cling, you grasp, you overgive, you compromise too much. But when you do love yourself, love becomes a choice, not a need. You choose people who add to your life, not who fill a hole inside of you. You're not looking to be completed because you already know you're whole. And that's where the magic happens. The way we treat ourselves is the blueprint we hand to the world. Every action we take toward ourselves, every word we speak in our own mind, every decision we make about what we accept or reject, it all silently communicates to others what we believe we're worth. We may not realize it, but people learn from us how to treat us. If we show up in a relationship constantly doubting ourselves, constantly apologizing for who we are, constantly minimizing our needs, we're telling the other person, this is what I accept. This is how I expect to be treated. If you never advocate for yourself, if you ignore your own boundaries, you're not being kind or easygoing, you're unintentionally setting a precedent. The world responds to the standard you set. If you allow others to walk over you, they will. If you constantly put yourself last, they'll start believing that's where you belong. But if you hold yourself with respect, if you prioritize your needs alongside theirs, if you show up with confidence and self-awareness, people will follow your lead. They'll either rise to meet you at that level, or they'll walk away because they can't. Either way, you've already won. We often think love is something we earn by giving, by sacrificing, by proving our worth. But the truth is, love begins internally. It's not about how much we can do for others. It's about how much we can honor ourselves while loving others. When we treat ourselves with love, we naturally invite loving behavior from others. It's like holding up a mirror. People reflect what they see. If they see someone who values themselves, they understand that mistreatment won't be tolerated. If they see someone who neglects themselves, they learn that neglect is acceptable. It's not about arrogance or selfishness, it's about clarity. Loving yourself doesn't mean you think you're better than anyone else. It means you refuse to be treated as less than. It means you recognize your own humanity, your own needs, your own right to dignity and care. And when you operate from that place, you don't have to demand love from others, you attract it naturally. People gravitate toward those who have a healthy sense of self-worth because they feel safe, stable, and grounded. Think of it this way. If you walked into a house that was falling apart, windows broken, roof leaking, doors hanging off their hinges, what message would that house send you? It would say, no one takes care of me. But if you walked into a home that was clean, well-maintained, thoughtfully arranged, you'd feel respect for it. You'd want to honor that space. You'd want to be careful not to damage it. Our inner world is no different. The care we show ourselves creates an atmosphere that either invites respect or invites disregard. This is why the work of loving yourself is not optional if you want healthy, lasting relationships. You can't outsource it. You can't hope someone will come along and fix what you've neglected inside. No one can fill the gap of self-love for you. If you don't believe you're worthy of kindness, it won't matter how kind someone else is. You won't trust it. If you don't believe you deserve love, you'll sabotage it when it shows up. But when you love yourself first, you create fertile ground for love to grow because it's not trying to heal a wound, it's adding to something already whole. Ultimately, you are the first teacher in your own life. You model for the world how to engage with you. And the best part is, you can change the lesson at any time. If you've spent years accepting less than you deserve, you can draw a new line in the sand. You can decide today to speak to yourself more gently, to set firmer boundaries, to prioritize your well-being. And as you change, the world around you shifts in response. Love isn't something we chase, it's something we embody. And when you embody love for yourself, you give others permission to love you the same way. You teach them by example. And that is the most powerful lesson of all. When we talk about love, we often focus on what we get from another person. Their attention, their affection, their commitment. But what we don't always realize is that the healthiest relationships are not built on how much we need another person. They're built on how secure we already feel within ourselves. And that security doesn't come from outside validation. It comes from self-love. Self-love is the foundation that keeps us steady even when things around us feel uncertain. It's what allows us to stand tall in a relationship without losing ourselves, without self-love. We approach love from a place of emptiness. We look to another person to fill the gaps inside us. We make them responsible for our happiness, our confidence, our sense of worth. And the moment we do that, we place an unfair burden on them. No partner, no matter how loving or supportive, can be the sole source of our identity or self-esteem. That's a weight too heavy for anyone to carry. When we love ourselves, we no longer enter relationships seeking rescue. We're not looking for someone to fix us, complete us, or make us whole. We already know we are whole. We approach love as a choice, not a need. And because of that, we can love more freely. We can love without fear of losing ourselves in the process. We can love without clinging, without controlling, without demanding constant reassurance. Dependency creates fear. When we depend on someone else to feel worthy, every conflict feels like a threat. Every disagreement feels like rejection. Every moment of distance feels like abandonment. We start to grasp, to hold tighter, to make compromises we should make just to keep the relationship intact. For when we have self-love, we carry a sense of inner stability. We know that even if someone disagrees with us, even if someone leaves, we are still enough. Our value doesn't fluctuate based on someone else's opinions or actions. This is the difference between love that feels like freedom and love that feels like captivity. Love built on emotional security allows space for both people to grow, to change, to evolve. There's trust that the relationship isn't held together by control, but by mutual respect and shared commitment. There's confidence that your identity doesn't dissolve just because you're connected to someone else. You remain yourself and they remain themselves, and together you build something stronger. Many people fear that focusing on self-love will make them selfish or closed off. But the opposite is true. Self-love actually makes us more compassionate, more understanding, more generous. Because we're not operating from a place of scarcity. We're not trying to protect fragile egos or hide deep insecurities. We have nothing to prove. And when we have nothing to prove, we can listen better. We can give more freely. We can celebrate the other person's victories without feeling diminished. Without self-love, love feels like survival. With self-love, love feels like an adventure. You're not clinging to it to stay afloat. You're swimming alongside it, enjoying the journey. And if the relationship ends, it may hurt, but it won't destroy you because you were never relying on someone else to keep you standing. You were already standing on your own 2 feet. This is why self-love is not just a personal practice. It's a relational one. It changes the way you show up. It changes what you tolerate. It changes what you expect. And ultimately, it changes what you attract. Because people who love themselves don't settle for relationships that drain them. They seek relationships that inspire them, challenge them, nurture them. Hey, look for partners who complement their growth, not partners who define their worth. And in the end, self-love doesn't make you dependent on anyone, it makes you dependable. To yourself first. And from that place of inner security, you can offer love that's strong, steady, and free. A love that adds to your life rather than becoming your life. And that kind of love, that's the love that lasts. We live in a world where saying no is often misunderstood. People hear the word boundary and they assume walls, distance, rejection. But the truth is, boundaries aren't about pushing people away. Boundaries are about protecting what's sacred inside of us. They're not born from selfishness. They're born from self-love. When you love yourself, you start to realize that not everything and everyone deserves access to you. You begin to see that your time, your energy, your peace, these things are limited and they're valuable. And if you give them away too freely without discernment, you'll end up exhausted, drained, and resentful. Loving yourself means recognizing that you have limits. It means knowing that just because you can doesn't mean you should. It means understanding that caring for others doesn't require abandoning yourself. Without self-love, we mistake overextending for kindness. We think saying yes to everything makes us good, makes us lovable, makes us indispensable. But in the process, we betray ourselves. We stay silent when we want to speak up. We go along when we want to push back. We say yes when every part of us is screaming no, and over time that quiet resentment builds. It leaks out in frustration, in distance, in emotional withdrawal. We start to feel used, unseen, unappreciated, not because others are intentionally harming us, but because we never taught them where the line was. Boundaries teach others how to love us. They say, here's where I end, and here's where you begin. Here's what I can give, and here's what I cannot. Here's what's okay, and here's what's not. And when we communicate those boundaries clearly, we're not rejecting people. We're inviting them to have a healthy, respectful relationship with us. We're saying, I care enough about you to be honest with you. I care enough about myself to protect what I need. That's not selfishness, that's love. Think about it. You wouldn't let someone walk into your home and rearrange your furniture without asking. You wouldn't let someone take things off your shelves without permission. Yet, how often do we let people rearrange our lives, take our time, drain our energy, without ever speaking up? Boundaries are like the doors and walls of that home. They don't exist to shut people out. They exist to create structure, safety, order. They allow you to invite people in without losing control of your space. When we love ourselves, we stop feeling guilty for needing space, for saying no, for choosing rest, for walking away from things that hurt us. We stop apologizing for not being available 24/7. We realize that setting a boundary doesn't make us cold or uncaring, it makes us honest. And honesty is the foundation of real love. Because without boundaries, love turns into obligation. Without boundaries, giving turns into resentment. Without boundaries, connection turns into codependency. People who truly love you will respect your boundaries. They may not always like them. They may push back at first. But over time, they'll see that your boundaries aren't conditions for love. They're the conditions that make love sustainable. They allow you to keep showing up, to keep giving, without losing yourself in the process. And the people who don't respect your boundaries, the ones who guilt you, manipulate you, ignore you, their reaction tells you everything you need to know about how they see you. Boundaries filter out the people who are only in your life for what they can take, and they create space for the people who are in your life for who you are. That's why self-love isn't selfish, it's necessary, it's protective, it's clarifying, it helps you stand tall in your worth so you're not bending, breaking, shrinking just to keep the peace. It helps you remember that your needs matter too. At the end of the day, boundaries are an act of love for yourself and for others. Because a relationship without boundaries is like a house without walls. It might look open and inviting, but over time it collapses under the weight of unmet needs and unspoken truths. Boundaries give love a structure to grow. They give trust a place to live. And they give you the freedom to love without losing yourself. So if you've been afraid to set boundaries, let this be your permission, not because you're selfish, but because you finally love yourself enough to stop sacrificing your peace for acceptance. And that's not just okay, that's power. We've all heard the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. But how often do we actually live by it? How often do we stop to check if our own cup is full before we start giving, helping, supporting everyone around us? Too many of us have been taught that love is sacrifice, that goodness means putting others first, that strength looks like holding it all together no matter what. And while there's beauty in caring for others, there's danger in making it our only focus. Because the truth is, you can't give what you don't have. When your cup is empty, everything starts to feel like a burden. The things you used to do joyfully start to drain you. Small requests feel overwhelming. You start snapping at the people you love, feeling resentful of the people you're trying so hard to help. It erodes your health. It erodes your sense of self. Filling your cup doesn't mean you stop caring about others. It means you care enough to make sure you're bringing your best self to them. It means you understand that your presence, your energy, your love, they're more powerful when they come from a place of fullness, not depletion. It means you know that taking care of yourself enables you to take care of others. Imagine trying to light a room with a candle that's burned down to nothing. Imagine trying to water a garden with an empty watering can. No matter how hard you try, nothing comes out. You can't give warmth, you can't give nourishment, you can't give life. You first need to refill, you need to restock, you need to step back and pour into yourself before you can pour into anyone else. And here's what many people don't realize. Filling your cup doesn't have to be grand or extravagant. It's not always about spa days or vacations. Sometimes it's as simple as saying no to something that drains you. Sometimes it's carving out 10 minutes of silence in a busy day. Sometimes it's choosing to go for a walk instead of answering one more email. It's about listening to what your soul needs and honoring it without guilt, without apology. Because the world will keep asking. The demands will never stop. There will always be more you could do, more you could give, more people who need you. But if you don't protect your own well-being, no one else will do it for you. And eventually, you'll have nothing left to give. When your cup is full, everything changes. You show up more patient, more present, more joyful. You give freely, not because you have to, but because you want to. Your love flows out naturally, effortlessly, and the people around you feel that difference. They feel the warmth that comes from someone who's taking care of their own heart first. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, stretched thin, worn down, let this be your reminder. It's okay to step back. It's okay to rest. It's okay to say, not today. Not because you don't care, but because you care enough to keep yourself healthy, whole, and grounded. You're not meant to be everything to everyone at all times. You're meant to be a human being who knows their limits, who honors their needs, who loves themselves enough to pause. You can't pour from an empty cup. But when your cup is full, you don't just have enough for yourself, you have more than enough to share. And that's the kind of love, the kind of care, the kind of presence that makes a real difference. We all want to be seen. We all want to be known deeply by someone who loves us for who we really are. But for so many of us, the idea of being truly vulnerable is terrifying. We're afraid that if we show our flaws, our insecurities, our raw emotions, we'll be judged, rejected, abandoned. And so we hide. We wear masks. We build walls. We tell ourselves it's safer that way. But what we don't realize is that those walls don't just keep pain out, they keep love out too. Vulnerability is the gateway to intimacy. It's how we create real connection, the kind that goes beyond surface-level interactions. But vulnerability takes courage. It takes trust. And that trust starts with the relationship we have with ourselves. Because when you love yourself, you stop being afraid of your own imperfections. You stop seeing your struggles as proof that you're unworthy. You stop thinking you have to be perfect to be loved. Self-love tells you you're already enough. You don't have to hide. You don't have to perform. You don't have to earn love by pretending to be someone you're not. When you carry that belief inside, you become free. Free to show up fully, flaws and all. Free to admit when you're hurting. Free to ask for what you need. Free to say, this is me, without shame. Self-love is what makes vulnerability feel safe. Not because you're guaranteed that no one will hurt you, but because you know that even if they do, you'll still be okay. Their rejection doesn't define you. Their criticism doesn't dismantle you. Their leaving doesn't empty you. Because your worth was never in their hands to begin with. Without self-love, vulnerability feels like a gamble. Every time you open up, it feels like you're risking everything. You feel exposed, fragile, dependent on someone else's approval. But with self-love, vulnerability becomes a gift. You're not sharing yourself because you need someone to validate you. You're sharing because you trust yourself enough to be real, and you trust the other person enough to let them see you. And if they can't handle the real you, you won't crumble. You'll walk away knowing you were honest, knowing you were brave enough to show up as yourself. This is the paradox. Self-love makes you strong enough to be soft. It makes you secure enough to be open. It makes you grounded enough to take emotional risks. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the ultimate strength. It's saying, here I am, and I trust that I'm enough. And the more you love yourself, the less you fear what might happen when you open up. You stop bracing for rejection. You stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. You stop holding back parts of yourself in case you're too much or not enough. You simply allow yourself to be. And here's the beautiful thing. The more you practice vulnerability from a place of self-love, the more you attract relationships that are real, deep, authentic. People feel safe around you because you're safe within yourself. People open up to you because they see that you're not hiding. You create a space where honesty, empathy, and trust can grow. And you stop wasting time in relationships where you have to shrink, censor, or perform just to be accepted. Self-love doesn't mean you won't get hurt. Doesn't mean every relationship will work out. But it does mean you'll stop abandoning yourself to chase love. It means you'll stop betraying your truth just to keep the peace. It means you'll stop tolerating connections that require you to wear a mask. Because you've learned to love yourself enough to stay true to yourself even when it's hard, even when it's scary. In the end, vulnerability without self-love is exposure. But vulnerability with self-love is empowerment. It's standing in your truth, knowing you're worthy, knowing you're lovable exactly as you are. And when you live from that place, you stop fearing what others might see because you've already seen yourself. You've already accepted yourself. And that's where real freedom begins. We grow up believing that love is something we have to chase, that somewhere out there is the one, and it's our job to search for them, to look harder, to try harder, to put ourselves in the right places at the right time. We're told that love is a quest, a prize, a destination waiting at the end of effort and sacrifice. But the truth is, lasting love isn't something you find, it's something you attract. It's something that flows toward you when you've become the kind of person who's ready to hold it. You don't attract love by looking outward. You attract love by looking inward, by doing the work to heal the parts of you that are afraid of love, by confronting the insecurities that make you settle for less than you deserve, by learning to meet your own needs so you're not begging others to fill the gaps inside you. Love doesn't come because you're desperate for it. Love comes because you created a space within you where love feels safe to land. We think love is about finding the right person, but lasting love is about becoming the right person. It's about showing up as someone who knows their worth, who sets healthy boundaries, who's not afraid of intimacy, who's willing to be vulnerable. It's about embodying the very qualities you want to attract in someone else. Because here's the truth, we don't get what we want, we get what we are. If you want love that's honest, be honest with yourself. If you want love that's loyal, be loyal to your values. If you want love that's deep, be willing to go deep within yourself first. Lasting love doesn't respond to desperation, it responds to authenticity. It responds to confidence. It responds to wholeness. When you're aligned with who you really are, when you've learned to love yourself, you stop chasing love, you start drawing it toward you effortlessly. And the irony is, the moment you stop trying to find love, the moment you stop believing love is something outside of you to be hunted down, you begin to radiate the kind of energy that invites love in. People feel it, they feel your peace. They feel your strength. They feel your joy. And the right person, someone who's also done their own work, will be drawn to that. Not because you are trying to impress them, but because you are simply being yourself. Too many of us try to earn love by performing, by pleasing, by contorting ourselves into shapes that aren't true to who we are. We think if we can just be good enough, someone will finally choose us. But real love doesn't have to be earned. Real love doesn't ask you to shrink or hide or prove your worth. Real love recognizes you. And the only way to be recognized by that kind of love is to first recognize yourself. That's why the journey to lasting love always begins within. Not because love is selfish, but because love is a reflection. The way you love yourself sets the tone for every relationship you have. The standards you hold for yourself become the standards others will meet or not meet. The kindness you show yourself becomes the baseline for the kindness you expect from others. And when you've done the inner work, you won't entertain love that's half-hearted, love that's manipulative, love that's rooted in fear or control. You'll wait, you'll trust. You'll know that the right love, the lasting love, will recognize you because you've already recognized yourself. Lasting love doesn't come to complete you, it comes to complement you. It doesn't rescue you from loneliness. It joins you in your fullness. It's not about finding someone to fill the holes in your heart. It's about finding someone who loves the way you've already filled them yourself. And when that kind of love arrives, it doesn't feel like striving, it doesn't feel like begging, it doesn't feel like performing, it feels like peace. It feels like home. So stop searching so hard for love out there. Start cultivating love in here. Love is not a hunt, love is an attraction. And when you become love, when you live it, breathe it, embody it, you won't have to chase it, it will find you, and it will stay.